Hey buds, how's it going? I am MC and today I'm doing a little bit of a spooky drawing for the fall season. I did actually want to get this drawing out before or on Halloween, but unfortunately the drawing process just took a little bit too long and it took a while to edit everything down. So it's going up a little bit later than that, obviously. But I think we should make a bit of a better effort to extend the fall season. I feel like this year I actually saw Christmas commercials when I was just starting to see Halloween candy in the store. So the drawing I'm doing today is actually inspired by looking a little bit closer at all the creepy little characters that are in Hieronymus Bosch's paintings. I really love Renaissance art in general, and I just think all the creepy and weird combinations for characters that Hieronymus Bosch came up with for his paintings really add a lot of interest to the time period. So when I was looking at The Last Judgment, I saw this little plague doctor looking character, and I thought that it would be a great excuse to draw my own. I'm really excited about the sketch that I've done for this guy, so if you feel like it, you should grab your sketchbook or whatever you're working on right now and draw along with me. So this illustration was inspired by Hieronymus Bosch's painting, The Last Judgment. Bosch would have worked on The Last Judgment around 1482, and it's a 5.4 foot by 7.9 foot oil-on-wood triptych and is currently at the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. Hieronymus Bosch was born in the Netherlands around 1450, and the exact date of his birth is unknown. There's actually not much that we know about his life in general, and most of the information that we have is based off of city records from where he lived. He lived in 's-Hertogenbosch, which I hope I'm saying correctly, but I'm definitely not, in the Duchy of Brabant, which was a state of the Holy Roman Empire at the time. His grandfather, father, and uncles were also painters, and it's thought that he most likely learned to paint from one of them and was able to become a very popular painter during his lifetime. Painting during the Northern Renaissance period in the 15th and 16th centuries, he had a workshop where he would have taught students, and that can make it difficult for us to be able to accurately identify his work, as his style and pieces were copied by a bunch of his followers. And as there have been advancements in technology, less and less of the pieces that were originally attributed to Bosch have been clarified as copies or work from a follower replicating his style. If you go to boschproject.org, it's basically a large archive of detailed pictures of his paintings and drawings, as well as copies that were made by other artists. Bosch didn't actually date any of his work, and I believe it's this project that used dendrochronology to study the oak panels that Bosch used to more accurately date when he did his paintings. And dendrochronology is the science that is used to date the year a tree ring formed. So it's really crazy and cool that they can use a science like that to date a painting as well. The website was really cool to click through, so I will link that below if anybody is interested in looking more into Bosch's work. But it's currently thought that we have 25 paintings and 14 drawings of Bosch's that have survived, of which we have 8 triptychs fully intact and the fragments of another 5. A triptych is a type of panel painting that is done in 3 sections. The sections are attached together using hinges, and then the triptych can be displayed opened or closed. The outside of the panels are traditionally painted in grisaille. Grisaille comes from the French word gris, which means gray, and basically just means any painting that was done in gray, which was very common for the outer painting of a triptych. When closed, The Last Judgment triptych illustrates St. James on the left panel and St. Bavo on the right, both painted in gray. Opened in full color, it's a series depicting the temptation of Adam and Eve through to what humans are fated for because of it. With the left panel showing the Garden of Eden, the center showing the Last Judgment itself with humans succumbing to punishments, and then the right, which isn't much different from the center, showing a hellscape with Satan in the middle and punishments continuing. The character I took inspiration from is in the middle section of the triptych. This section depicts Jesus at the top of the panel, surrounded by the Virgin Mary and other saints, judging the characters beneath him. There are a lot of wild characters in this painting. There's a woman who looks like she's dancing with snakes to music performed by a band of demons. A small woman with webbed and taloned feet frying human body parts in a cast iron pan. And what looks to be a Brussels sprout with hands and feet and a lute on his back stabbing a guy. And then close to the very bottom of this panel, I noticed a beaked character walking with crutches. I thought he looked quite a lot like a demonic plague doctor, and even if he's not a plague doctor, I thought the whole concept of this guy could be translated perfectly into one. He's got the beaked face and the hook on the side of his basket, so there were some obvious aesthetic similarities to plague doctors. And the time period that Bosch was alive, he probably did have some sort of personal experience with the plague. But I don't know if I actually see this guy as a real doctor anyway. I think I see him more as death, like he's kind of disguised as a doctor to give you some peace of mind when he comes to take you away. Like you're going somewhere where he can help you. But actually, if he comes to pick you up and puts you in his basket, it means he's taking you away to die. But I really like plague doctor drawings, and I've always kind of wanted to do my own, so I thought he was a really cool and creepy jumping off point for my own drawing of a more typical plague doctor. So I wanted to stay very true to the original figure Bosch painted. I kept the posture the exact same and kept his crutches, which were actually one of my favorite parts of the original posture. And I think there's a lot of movement in this pose. Like I could really see this guy in rough shape, hobbling around on these crutches and carelessly stuffing somebody into his basket and carrying them off. I also like that in the original he has a companion, the little demon guy floating over his shoulder and observing the man in the basket. But I didn't really have my own inspiration to come up with my own little demon character and didn't think I would do it justice if I tried. So that was when I decided to switch the demon character to a crow instead and just give it that classic spooky cemetery vibe that a lot of plague doctor drawings have. I know that a lot of people try to read into the characters in Bosch's paintings and try and figure out what they mean or what they might have been inspired by. But if I'm completely honest, I have very little interest into looking into that kind of thing. I think the best part of Hieronymus Bosch is looking at his paintings and just wondering what is going on. They're truly wild, and I want to know, but I don't want to know, you know? I can get stuck looking at these pieces for ages, and I think it's best to just kind of get lost gawking at all of the weird figures in his pieces. And there were actually a lot of them that I wanted to do my own drawings of when I was taking a closer look at paintings like The Last Judgment or The Garden of Earthly Delights. So I'm almost positive that I'll end up taking inspiration from Bosch and doing this again. I had so much fun adding my own little details to this guy, and I'd really like to try to go even further out on a limb and draw something from Bosch that's not human at all and see what I come up with. And I do just really like carrying on the tradition of Bosch's paintings and style. I think it's really cool that he was such an influential artist during his lifetime that he had all of these people copying and learning from him, and that's something that can still be relevant today, and I can find it really beneficial to continue copying and learning from him as well. Bosch's character was the only thing I really took reference from for this drawing, and then just a little bit of research to see what a plague doctor's costume would actually look like. But mainly, I just wanted to make sure that his pose was correct, and then everything after that was basically done off the top of my head. Sometimes I can really hate working off of reference for a drawing, so I'll ignore it altogether. And while I was editing this video, I actually noticed that something I do a lot is sort of drawing myself in circles. I do a lot of drawing and erasing and redrawing, and that might just be to get a texture or a shape right. And I think it adds a lot of time to my drawing process, but I'll suffer through it just so I don't have to keep looking back at a reference photo. And I think that's one of the best parts of doing illustrations. I think that pretty much anything is up to my perception as the artist. And if I think of something looking a certain way, it can look that way, and it doesn't have to be perfect or 100% correct. And in the end, I'm really pleased with how this guy came out. I think the font I designed could maybe use some more refining. I was going for a Victorian Gothic kind of font, and I wish I was able to anticipate the need for the R to be moved a little bit closer to the O, but that's nothing that can't be fixed in Photoshop if I really wanted to. I also really debated filling in the font, and I'm still not sure if I think it would look better all in black, so that might be something that I experiment with as well. But yeah, overall, very happy with the result, and I really enjoyed the process of this drawing, so I will leave you to watch the rest of it and check back in when it's done. So here is the finished Plague Doctor. Yeah, I'm really proud of this guy. I had so much fun adding the little details and doing my own version of this piece. And I think it's something that I'm going to revisit in the future. I really love taking inspiration from old artworks and redoing them in my style. There were a lot of other little guys in Hieronymus Bosch's paintings that I thought would be a lot of fun to redo. So maybe I'll make a video about another one of these in the future, or maybe it'll just be on my Instagram. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the autumn season. Take care, and you'll see me in the next one.